Why your plot sucks, and how to unsuck it on today's episode. Hello and welcome to RPG PhD. I'm Dr. Ben, and today we are discussing plot. Being a dungeon master is one of the most rewarding experiences in the world of role-playing games, but it's not always easy to come up with engaging plots that keep your players on the edge of their seats. In this video, we're going to go over some tips and tricks to help you build great plots for your campaigns. Number 1, your plot needs structure. First, a quick lesson on basic plot structure. Almost every film, TV show, play, comic, story, etc. follows this basic plot structure. Why? Well, we've been telling stories this way for literally thousands of years. It's a formula that works, and if done right, can be extremely satisfying for the audience. The 5 parts of plot structure are exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. Exposition. The first part of the plot establishes the main characters and setting. We get to know the main or important characters as well as when and where the story takes place. Usually we are shown equilibrium, meaning that everything is normal for the characters. Then we have what is called the inciting incident. The primary conflict or tension around which the plot revolves is usually introduced here in order to set up the course of events for the rest of the narrative. You get an urgent text or call, the main character's family is murdered, an obstacle or problem is placed in front of the characters that they need to overcome. Think about it like throwing a stone into a calm pond. The inciting incident, like the stone, makes waves or ripples, disturbing the equilibrium established at the start. The character's struggle to overcome the obstacle is what creates the dramatic tension and the conflict. Conflict is the central element of all drama and what makes a story interesting to watch or be a part of. This leads to the rising action, where the main characters try various tactics to overcome their primary obstacle. Within the rising action, you might have several what are called mini reversals. This could be the main characters try something they think is going to work to solve their problem, but it fails. This may happen a few times, or they may solve what they think is the overall problem but find out that they have a bigger issue or an added complication that they now must overcome. This all leads to the final reversal or climax, called this turning point, where the issue is overcome, resolved, or dealt with in some way, resolving the main conflict of the story. Tensions are highest here, instilling in the audience a sense of excitement, dread, and urgency. The villain is defeated, the challenge is overcome, the conflict resolved. Which leads to the falling action. This is when the tension has been released and the story begins to wind down. We start to see the results of the climax and the main character's actions and get a sense of what this means for them and the world they inhabit. This final plot point is when everything has been wrapped up and the new world and the new sense of normalcy for the characters, a new equilibrium, different from the start, but a new normal has been established. The conflict from the climax has been resolved, and all loose ends have been neatly tied up, unless the storytellers purposely are leaving a few threads open to continue the story in the future. There is a sense of finality and closure here, making the audience feel that there is nothing more they can learn or gain from the narrative. Now, I bring up basic plot structure because one reason that plots don't work very well is that GMs ignore any sense of plot structure. Plot structure works because it fulfills for the audience, whether consciously or unconsciously, a feeling of wholeness or completeness. When you don't have a structure, it's like stopping a song before it can resolve. It feels incomplete. Plot, when done well, you don't even realize it. But when done poorly, you sense it immediately. RPGs are just another medium for telling stories, and so should have some connection to a plot structure, even if that plays out over a long period of time in a campaign and has subplots that run in parallel with the main story. Next thing to keep in mind when building a plot is to have clear and well-defined arcs for your story. Whether it's to save the world, solve a mystery, or find true love, having a clear objective will give your story direction and purpose. You don't necessarily need to know how you will get there, but you need to know where you are going. We need to take this ring to the Mountain of Fire. We need to defeat the villain rampaging across the countryside. We must rescue the prince or princess from the dungeon. We must kill the man that killed my father. The key element that I have already mentioned, but bears repeating, is that great plots must have conflict. Your story should have obstacles that your characters must overcome in order to achieve their goal. They've been imprisoned and must escape. They need to defeat the giant creature to get the key. They're being pursued by bounty hunters. These conflicts should be believable and increase in difficulty as the story progresses, leading to a climax that will keep your players on the edge of their seats. In order to accomplish this, you must keep ramping up the pressure, keep raising the stakes, throw in additional complications and other obstacles to keep the tension high. Adding a time element to the final encounter can also help with this. You want the tension to be so intense that when the players finally accomplish their goal, the sense of release is welcome. If the tension is not high enough, then when overcoming that final obstacle, it will feel anticlimactic. Next, to create a truly memorable story, it's important to include relatable and well-rounded NPCs. Your characters should be believable and have their own unique backstory, motivations, and goals. This will make your audience care about what happens to them and will give your story emotional depth. You can watch my video about creating memorable NPCs linked below. Another great way to build a compelling plot is to add twists and turns that keep your players guessing. A good plot twist can take a story in unexpected and exciting directions and will keep your audience engaged and invested in the story. Having that beloved NPC who has traveled with your group the entire adventure turn on your characters in the final battle because they have been working with the main villain the whole time can be a great plot twist. It can ramp up tension and throw in a complication to the final climax, and if they escape, could become a recurring villain. Make sure you sprinkle some very subtle hints along the way so that you can point to those when the players are like, WTF, man! When building a plot, make it personal for your players. Give them a reason to care about what's happening in the game. This can be as simple as involving an NPC that they've grown attached to, or giving them a chance to solve a mystery that hits close to home. Weave their backstory into the plot and have it relate or impact them directly. Make sure you give players choices and let them drive the story. Instead of dictating every step of the plot, give your players multiple options and let them decide how they want to proceed. This will make them feel like they're in control of their own fate and will also make the game more enjoyable. This relates back to my earlier point about needing to know where you are ultimately going, but not exactly how you will get there. Let the players make decisions about how they move through the story. You can always see that the players end up where they need to be for the climax. It's also important to keep the stakes high. The players should always feel like they're in danger and that their decisions have real consequences. This can be accomplished by introducing powerful enemies, dangerous obstacles, or time constraints that make the players feel like they need to act quickly. Finally, don't be afraid to take inspiration from other sources, whether it's literature, movies, or real-world events. There's no shortage of ideas out there to help you build a compelling plot, so don't be afraid to borrow elements from your favorite stories and use them to make your own game unique and memorable. With these tips in mind, you're well on your way to building great plots for your role-playing games, so gather your players, roll those dice, and get plotting. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and please leave your comments about plots or plot below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.